Okay, good morning, everybody. This is You Change the World on Thursday morning. We are a little bit late, so my apologies for that. Little technical glitches over here. Daniel Cohen-Dumani is our guest today, so welcome, Daniel. Thank you for joining.
Welcome, Andre. Thanks for having me on the show today.
It's a great pleasure, and especially when we talk about these things that resonate like music now every day. AI, AI, AI. Oh my gosh, it's like we were saying I. Now it's AI. But anyway, I just want to remind everybody a little bit about housekeeping. Like every morning, I have to do this for other things too. So we are on different channels, but those who are on YouTube, especially, I would like to please invite you to subscribe. This is something that we are going to push a little bit in January because it's been a little slow on the YouTube side. We're not looking at mass attendance. This is not the essence of this show, and nor is the essence of my of my coaching and everything I do. We are having here people who are leaders, managers of different things. They have responsibilities, and they are curious to know how there we can eventually optimize different things that we challenge with. And AI is one of the challenge, and especially when it comes to truth. And that's why I think we get to know each other. When you saw something I posted about it, so I'm glad that I can have feedback right there, live with you, Daniel. But if you could, in a few words, and I know it's maybe embarrassing, but to introduce yourself and say a little bit what you're doing, please.
Absolutely. Thank you, Andre. So, my name is Daniel Cohen-Dumani. I'm the founder and CEO of Experio Labs, and we are bringing to market the first knowledge intelligence solution, AI solution built specifically for the professional services industry.
Mhm.
And Andre, at the heart of what we do is ensuring that we are building a trustworthy AI solution. So trust and traceability and is at the forefront of what all we do.
Trustworthy, yes. And can you go a little bit of a deeper level, because the truth is you have in front of you someone who's very skeptical about what's trustworthy in the world of in this virtual world. The reason I'm saying that, so that I'm not coming like from an old school standpoint, but it's almost in fact ahead of the time. It's I think we are ahead of ahead of the trend if we are thinking about trust. We need, and for me, not trusting doesn't mean you need to have iron walls around you like they do in different platforms, like the big M and the big G, where it becomes almost impossible for users to work because it's so
Right.
restricted. And the fear of being hacked and all these different things that happen in the internet. But that's not what I mean. Trust for me is reliability of the product and stability. Um, that's really what I think trust is about. The user experience, and then that there is nothing in between that would kind of how do you say that, change the shape or change the root or the source. Doesn't That's the thing that I'm very very scared about. When you start changing the source and
Yeah.
mask it or transform it in the way with an agenda, then of course we become subject of anything out there.
That is absolutely true, Andre. And I think that is there are multiple challenge with generative artificial intelligence today, right? We all heard about hallucinations, right? And hallucination can take different forms. One of them is making things up,
Right.
right? So not telling the truth, or as you just pointed, which I think is very interesting. It's an interesting angle that I don't hear a lot, is changing it, altering it in a way that is not intended to be, like with an agenda.
Mhm.
Um, and often I think I wouldn't say it's an agenda as much as it is a bias on what the AI has been trained on, right? So yeah, it could be an agenda, but it also is more likely a bias, right? It's been trained in a way that it's going to more give answers like this rather than like that. Um, so that is a challenge that very few people talk about, and I'm glad that we're talking about this today.
Well, okay. So let's try to see how you tackle that. You act as a consultant, or you are also building products,
Yeah, so I have a background in 3 decades in
right?
consulting.
Yeah.
So I've been in that industry for quite a while. And one of the challenge that I witnessed myself over the 3 decades, first as a solo consultant, part of a larger firm, starting my own consulting firm, selling it to a larger firm. So I've seen it all. Um, there is what I call a corporate amnesia,
Hmm.
right? Organizations tend to forget what they've done, right? And they forget why they've done it, how they've done it, why they've done it that way, uh, because people come and go,
Yeah.
but also because it's mostly either in people's head or it exists in digital form, but nobody can access it, right? Um, so we've seen that, right? This is a problem that's costing the industries billions of dollars a year, of reinventing the wheel all the time. Um, so essentially, what we're trying to achieve is connecting the dots, giving human the ability to harness knowledge that they sort of know existed, they just didn't know how to go about finding it. Um, so the heart of what we do is creating what I call
Okay.
a ground truth of your organization memory, right? So when you think about a professional services organization,
Hmm.
it's all about what clients, what engagement or job or projects you've done for them, what was those projects about, who was involved in the project, um, what outcomes or deliverable you created out of those projects. So we're connecting all of this into think about a digital brain, right? So that provides a ground truth.
Oh,
The theory behind what we're doing is that ground truth given to an AI will steer the AI in the direction of only giving you a truthful answer as opposed to trying to use its training data to infer or guess or make things up. Um, so that's sort of how we're approaching it from a philosophical
yeah.
standpoint is ensuring that we're forcing the AI to use the ground truth and not to go outside this, right? So we're keeping it in a box.
But the thing is, I still don't understand how you do that. I'm sorry to challenge you, but I miss a little bit the how, right? You can be a consulting entity and deal with engineers or product managers or whatever. They come up with a product. They won't compromise anything about their goal. And if it's a commercial goal, a pure business goal, that's good. It's fine. It's totally acceptable. Um, and there is a lot of various ways and new ways, really. Today, I think, in fact, we completely, I think, overwhelmed by the transformation of how you can really control, in a way, your impact. And impact is all that counts, in advertising or when you want to have a product that is visible. And how you optimize that. So SEO used to be the way, but it's not the way anymore. So I'm just asking, that's the thing, right? We would not compromise to promote to be the number one coming up on Google, but that's not to come up on Google that counts anymore. It's to come up on Chat GPT that counts the first.
Right.
So it's all this thing that is in the back end.
Yeah. Yeah. It is, I completely appreciate your skepticism, Andre, because we've seen it's hard to believe that ChatGPT has only been available for 3 years.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, it feels like it's been decades, but um, it's only been 3 years, right? And I think that there's been involvement. I think what's important for everyone to understand about the state of AI
Yeah.
today is those large language model, ChatGPT, Gemini, Anthropic, are hyper fast guessing machine.
Mhm.
They are guessing what the answer is supposed to be. They do that really well, and they've been trained on the world language, right? So when you ask a question, they're able to iterate extremely fast to give you what is the most plausible answer.
Okay.
Never means it's right. It's just plausible.
Mhm.
It sounds really good. And maybe 60, 80, 90% of the time it's actually correct. Maybe sometimes it's 40%, right? But it's always going to be incorrect answer because there's no true intelligence at the heart of those systems. It's statistical probability um, based on available body of the entire World Wide Web, which is everything, right? Um, so so that's the heart of what we're facing, right? We have a hyper fast, probabilistic, statistically uh, working machine, right? That has no real intelligence, and we're using it like it's intelligent, right? And I think to move beyond that, you have to provide a sort of a layer of intelligence inside of those machines.
Okay.
And in the world of enterprise or corporate, which is what we're targeting, the intelligence is a ground truth of how you see the world. In language, it's called a semantic layer, right? A layer of semantic that connects the truth. And once that's provided to a chat GPT, you're able to increase the level of accuracy from 40, 60% to maybe
Oh,
95%,
really?
right? Because we are, yes,
Okay.
yeah. Now, it's, 95% is probably as good as a human, right? We're not fail-proof machine either. We make mistake, right? But we're in the 90% range, right? 95% range. Um, so I think there's been a lot of research since ChatGPT is coming. Now,
Mhm.
I strongly believe we're going to reach the the max of what we can do with the current AI technology that exists, right? I think they're going to get, and we've seen that this year. There's been new model. They're so much better, yeah, incrementally better, but not revolutionarily better. And I think that over the next 3 to 5 years, there's going to be new approach to AI that maybe haven't been invented yet,
Sure.
to provide us with, you know, to increase skepticism, right? Because that's not going to go away. Um, can we make AI solution better today, Andre, to make it truthful? I think with a lot of guardrails and a lot of intention, we can. But you have to have intention to do it that way, right? So, and that's what we're trying to do is be very intentional about. I'd rather have a solution that doesn't give you an answer
Yeah.
rather than give you the wrong answer.
Okay.
So, if you use our tool, sometimes you're going to be disappointed because you're not going to get an answer. Well, that's almost on purpose by design. The state of the art couldn't get you that answer today for whatever reason. And we can improve that. But, we're falling down to say no answer is better than the wrong answer.
Okay. Well, if you've been kind of intrigued by the fact that I was bringing the aspect of the user, the aspect of the leaders in general, looking at the corporate space, and saying that we cannot accept to be tricked, we cannot accept to be maneuvered, manipulated. That's my obsession, right? My obsession really, and not as a coach, but I see how much my clients, when I coach leaders, or when I mediate even conflicts, I see how much the bias is there with a capital B and giant B. What I mean by that is that all the systems that are in place, there is always someone who wants to control. There is no question. Power and control, right? This is probably a human thing, and that's what drives politics. That drives the world. People are after power and after politics. Politically, power. I mean, powerful. In other words,
Yes.
when this exists, even in an organization, obviously we cannot trust it, and that's what I want. In fact, people to live. I think we are going to live much happier by not trusting it than by just being dependent on it. So it's freedom for me. That the freedom is the freedom of choice, and also to choose whatever I want as a source of information if I want to get information, and make my mistakes, saying that, oh my gosh, there's a contradiction. He said that last week, now he says that, which is contradictory to this week. So now I cannot trust it anymore.
Right.
He lied. That's a lie. So when it's a lie, you're going to have to do a lot of work to get back my trust in what lied to me. So I don't want to live in lies. I want to live in truth. Even sometimes it's painful or sad, but I would like to get the truth. And AI is another instrument. It's another tool. It's another machine that has been created by human beings. We have the obsession, and the question remains to all those visionaries like Elon Musk and whoever and Altman of ChatGPT. They all have to say something about the future because they ask about it, and they ask about, are we going to lose control? Is the AI is going to take over the human beings? And is it going to be a brain that is going to be super powerful, smarter than anyone, and almost compare AI to God? I mean, they do that thing very, very often.
Yeah.
It's very funny. And every generation of the AI, we come to the current first generation, even 3 years later, or 5 or 10 years later, because it was around more than 15 years ago or 20 years ago. But the point is, AI is an intriguing animal because it can take control of our freedom and our freedom of choice and our freedom of thinking and all the things that we have as human beings. So if it is a threat to that, obviously, but it's not. I don't think it is. I'm a very optimistic guy. It's a machine. It's a machine. Whatever you do with it, it's a machine. If we allow the machine to take over, that's a different story. But we can't also restrict it to be taking control, and that's fiction. We saw different movies, series, TV series. I'm not a big TV guy, but I saw a few things, and it shows you what happens if it takes control. We don't
Agree.
want that to happen, right? Do we?
Yeah,
It may.
we do. I'm an optimistic person as
Yes.
well,
Okay.
Andre. What I know from a technical background perspective is I think the current state of AI is overhyped
Okay.
in a sense that it's overhyped in what it's capable of doing today. It doesn't mean that tomorrow won't be better, but today it is overhyped on what it's capable of doing. We're all talking this year about agentic AI,
Mhm.
an autonomous piece of software that can do things in behalf of a human without human intervention. Um, so it's overhyped in the sense that yes, you can find very narrow use cases where you can do that
Yeah.
95% right. For the most part, it's still going to need to hand off to a human because it's the current state of AI isn't good to deal with something that have never been seen,
Okay. Okay.
right? Because Andre, we've talked earlier about it's trained on the world knowledge, right? The world knowledge is maybe not everything that's been seen, but when those model that has been trained up to a certain date see something they've never seen before, they're not able to handle it. We are as human, right? As human, we can handle facts, situation that we've never encountered before, and we're able to make those connections, right? Um, so I think that that's what we need to understand is until there are an AI that can do this, we're going to be okay.
Right.
Now, the so that's the optimistic scenario. The pessimistic scenario is maybe we only have a few years.
Yeah.
Um,
Right. No, no, absolutely. Well, to bring this to another level, if I may, so we can go back to that one day if you're ready to come back here. Uh, but I think we can move the conversation as we have only 9 minutes. It's a half-hour show today, so to just make sure we cover a little bit about the philosophical again, a little bit back to that because I think it's very important.
Mhm.
Um, what do you think, really? We can do as to stay innovative innovative leaders, right? I'm talking about leaders again, those who are influencing, who are impacting, and make decisions. Those are leaders. Or the other kind of leader I'm thinking also of is the person who wants to take responsibility. So, to
Mm.
what point someone can say I'm responsible? Because I'm not French originally, and I don't think you also are. I'm not American. I'm French originally. I come from Europe, and one thing I learned here in the U.S. since I'm here is the obsession of liability, the obsession of legal litigations and things like that.
Mhm.
Uh, that makes another animal very alive all the time. It's called a disclaimer. I'm not responsible. I want you to sign this here before you go to the operating room. That me, the surgeon, if I kill you, I'm not responsible.
Right.
And you sign the paper because you have to, otherwise you don't have the surgery. So I'm trying to tell you the whole system that I'm sometimes thinking about. So where are we responsible? That's the responsibility that I'm now trying to address. Someone has to be responsible to develop a new product. Someone has to be responsible for payroll and are responsible that all the employees of this company are going to get paid on time, etc. That there's the money in the bank, and all of those things are under control. So where are we going with that?
That's a phenomenal question, Andre. And I think that when you think about AI, and one of the application has been self-driving cars, and that is truly you can see the challenge right there,
Right.
right? Because we're not able, and you're right. I'm from Europe too. I was born in Switzerland, speaking French, Andre. But it is a challenge because we are not determining if we're going to give control of a human power to a machine, who is responsible,
Yeah.
right? Do we give responsibility to the machine? Do we own responsibility? Is it the manufacturer of the machine or the manufacturer of the software? Is it the operator that's liable? And that's absolutely true with self-driving car. You know, the insurance is with you. Your car is driving.
Yes.
You're insured. You're technically liable. Something happened. Whose fault is it? It's
Yeah.
not you. You weren't driving, right? So I think the same is true in AI for business, right? And leaders have to not give away their responsibility. They have to stay responsible. And I think the only way to stay responsible is to be intentional, to understand, if I'm using AI, this is the guardrail I need to put in place so I can keep
That's right.
responsibility. And
Yes.
you're right, so that the liability stays with me, right? If you have an agent paying your employees and the agent makes mistake, you're still responsible. It's your company, right? You delegated that responsibility to an agent to pay your employees. You're still responsible, right? And you're right. I think that as long as leader understand that the guardrail is the key to success, then
Okay.
you know that's going to work.
Okay, well, that makes a lot of sense. In fact, it also gives a lot of sense to consultants because that's what they can do from being external, meaning assessments and then specifications and provide that to the stakeholders, and then they can buy it because they buy your time and they buy your knowledge, and you can see this from the perspective of a whole market or
Yes.
a whole industry. So that's very interesting. Okay, well, that's great. It gives me a lot of relief. What do you think out there, guys? If you have any comments, please do leave your comments. You have all these places in LinkedIn or every other places where to put comments. I really would be curious to have feedback from our auditors here to see what they think, and how they would in fact take responsibility. In their way, if there is any special way that we are not mentioning right now, because there's so many different ways that we can do this. So, what would we say to as a conclusion for this short talk? It's a conversation, but what remains in your mind, Danielle, that drives you every morning when you wake up and you go to work every day? What is the driver?
The my personal driver is I want to improve the status quo,
Yes.
meaning do things better, in a more sustainable, responsible way.
Okay.
Um, and I mean, hopefully the listener of this show understand that As a leader, you have to take charge. It's your responsibility, your mission to understand how is AI going to impact my business and what should I do about it. Because if you're thinking that AI is not going to impact your business, you are wrong and you're going to fail.
Yes.
And I think leader needs to understand and almost need to go to school and educate themselves about what's happening, where we are, where we're going. Um, I read a book 4 years ago called Life 3.0, which I recommend everyone to read. It's a both optimistic and extremely pessimistic view of AI. It was written into 2017, so it's still dated. Um,
Can you repeat
but
the title again? I didn't hear well.
Life 3.0.
Okay.
It's an MIT professor called Max Tegmark. Well,
Okay.
I'll send it to you. We can add it to the show. It
Okay.
is really important for leader to see what could happen 5, 10, 15, 20, maybe 30 years from now, so that they understand how to prepare themselves
Okay. Yeah.
and be in it.
Okay, good. I think that's that's the approach I would like to invite everybody to have. The same as you just mentioned. Stay responsible. The guardrails are always available to implement, to revise. It's not something fixed and set in stone. You can always change because things are evolving extremely rapidly. But you have to surround yourself. The leaders should surround themselves with the experts. The people who are experts are not necessarily people who have been in that for a long time. Experts as those who are working with the visionaries and those who are inventing different applications and ways of using AI. You need to come with a lot of that experience in
Yes.
an organization to advise and assist a decision maker or a CEO or a C-suite guy that has no knowledge really about those implications that you're talking about. So someone, in fact, before signing anything and taking a responsibility, should be very sure that they have the right sources and competencies and people with the experience to advise them. So consultants are definitely there. How to verify that they are competent and up to date, I don't know. The quantum technology is also around the corner. But the computers are going to be also giant. Is already giant, but to do things that we don't even guess right now that what they can do. But
Yeah.
again, my optimism, I want to leave it with this because I think you agreed with me, is that human beings are going to stay in control. I think they are going to stay in control because they have to, and it's a natural thing. And my other thing that I also say a lot is that we have needs of things to remain human. So we're not going to live with robots from night. I mean, in this nightmare kind of world, the immersion into this kind of stuff is not, I think, a good therapy for people to stay healthy and to stay sane.
And,
So,
and,
right,
and we have a choice, Andre.
right,
It's our choice to make.
exactly. Thank you for confirming that. So I hope, Daniel, you come back. Thank you for joining us
Would
today.
love to. Thank
And
you.
everybody, we'll see you next week. Thank you. Take care. Let me end this.